all the way over to the backing plate, which is in its furthest position right now. And that gives us We're continuing our brake cooling upgrades, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and implement the Z06 inlets that we showed you a little while back. So the first thing we've done here is we've cut off this lip here, we've cut off of this one because we know that it's at least a ½ an inch too long. So we're going to use this one that's been shortened for our measurement. And down here on the bumper, these fog light housings were installed on the inside of this guy right here, which you can see basically provided a lip for the air to hit, which wasn't very good, and the size of our inlet wasn't very large. So we're going to go ahead and remove the bumper again and start by measuring, by installing this inlet here and measuring how far further we need to cut. Alright, so this side goes over here and the other one will go on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and roughly install this inside this fog light entrance here, which will be a little tight, but it's good because that means we won't be losing a lot of air around it. So now that it's roughly installed, we're going to go ahead and put it on the car. Going to stick out a bit, but that's okay. We want to have a little excess right now until we measure it and shorten it for what we need. So once we put this on, we're going to push it into place so it's not impacting any of our suspension or steering components. Install a fastener here so it's in place, and then measure and cut how much we need to cut off the front, and install some fasteners from there. So we're going to go ahead and turn the wheel so it's full lock out. That's going to serve two purposes. It'll give us some space to work for the inlet, plus it'll allow us to measure the maximum distance we need for the flexible hose that's going to connect the inlet to the plate. Down here you'll notice we've removed this lower shield here. That is just to allow us a little more space to work. It was already previously cut for the flexible duct, so we shouldn't have to do too much trimming there. So now that we're in here, we have this ABS sensor wire here that we need to watch out for. So we need to go just a little bit lower than that, since we don't want to take up its space. So what we're going to end up doing is going about here, and that, as you can see, will give us enough clearance to the steering rack and still give us a nice straight line over to this backing plate. Now if you look here on the front, now that we pulled it in, there is just a little bit sticking out. So this is kind of the area that we'll trim, but first we're going to mount this in here so it's solid, and then mark off this area to shorten it. Alright, so now that we have this guy lined up approximately where we want it, and we see that there's not too much flex, we're just going to go ahead and mark off our hole. And we've started the hole right there, and we're just going to extend it just a little bit so it fits our fastener here. So let's test it out and see. Yep, that looks like it will fit our fastener. So we'll go ahead and line this back up, pop our fastener in there, and there it is. So that's our mounting. We won't go full lock because we'll be taking it out after we measure, but you can see even without it fully locking in place, it's solid there. Now if you come to the front, you can see now how much we have sticking out. So we're just going to take a blade and shorten it so it's flush with the bumper. And if you look inside, you'll see now that we have a straight entrance for the air to come in and go straight to the brakes. All right, we've got it back in there. And if you look here on the front now, the vent is pretty much flush with the bumper. So the only other thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a couple of reliefs here so we can fold this back so we give it a little smoother entry of airflow from this side. Square there, not here, and that should do the trick once we fold it out. Alright, so that should give us this little bit of flex that we need to go out and bend it towards the shape of the bumper, which once we get it in there, we might have to trim just a little bit more, but we'll see shortly. Okay, let's line this guy back up into its spot, pop it in place, and now if we go out here, we can see that this guy is a little tight, but we should be able to motivate it with just a little bit of heat to go over to this edge. Cut, and I made a small just kind of scribe here just so it's easier to bend on that line. So I'm going to kind of shape it out a little bit and then slide it back in here to see if we can get it to the spot where we want it to be, so it's bent into both directions. Alright, so now that we've got it out here, go ahead and give it that same bend. Just shape it to the outside a bit. And now we're going to slide it back in here and pop it into place with our fastener. And here we might be able to get by with this right here once we get something to attach it with. Might actually need to do one more relief cut in the middle, so we'll see here in just a moment. So let's give it a small relief cut right across the middle of this flap so it can bend a little bit to the side, and then slide it back in. So now we have attachment points and it is bent to the shape of the inlet, so we're forcing air directly into it. So what we'll do now is make sure that we're still fitting back here, and we're going to drill some holes and rivet this guy into place so that it's nice and tight. Alright, so we got our hole drilled here for our first attachment point. We are going to go ahead and insert our rivet, which wants to go into the first piece, but does not want to go into the bumper just yet. So clean up the bumper a bit and try this again. There we go. So now we've got a rivet and it is inside the bumper. So we're going to go ahead and slide our rivet gun in place, put some pressure on it so it's nice and tight, and give it a few pumps so it attaches securely. And there we are. We have our first attachment point. We're going to do the same in about, say, at least one for this and a couple spots over, one on top and one on the bottom. And I don't think this guy will be going anywhere. So as you can see here, our vent, even pulling it, pushing it from behind is not going anywhere. And we have a large entry for airflow, and it will be going straight back here to the outlet, which is securely mounted to the fender liner. And it does have just a little bit of give, but that is good, because that will allow it to flex with the liner and to move around with the bumper in various conditions. So what we'll be doing now is measuring over here from the backing plate to the vent here to see what our distance is. And we're at full lock now purposely to see what our longest distance is, so we don't pop our hose off when we're gonna reuse some of the tubing that was previously in the car. So this was the old tubing kind of that went to the fog light housing, and about more than half of it is good. This section here, as you can see, is pierced and leaking, so we're definitely not gonna use this. But this half that was tucked into the liner is pretty decent. We're just gonna cut off this bit here that's a little torn and be able to use the rest of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure our distance here from the edge of the inlet all the way over to the backing plate, which is in its furthest position right now. And that gives us So what we're going to do is we're going to measure our distance here from the flange of our new inlet to our backing plate. So if we go that way and give it some flex, we're just a little over 16 inches. So we'll start with about 16 and a half and then go from there. So fully extended, we're not getting into our cut up zone, so we're here, and we'll actually go to 17 just to give us a little extra insurance. So we've got our piece here, and there we are. So this will get fastened over here by a couple of zip ties, and this here is going to get our clamp that was previously installed there, and we're done. And the whole overall system, so we have air coming into the front and going straight here, and I'm going to go ahead and adjust the steering wheel to see what it looks like fully compressed. So as you can see, the wheels are straight now and fully compressed. It still has enough room to move around, and it's not going to impact any of our components in the area. We're not going to fasten this just yet because we're going to be removing the bumper to do a couple of more things underneath there, but once that's back on, we'll go ahead and clamp this and zip tie the inside of it, and future removal will be just as easy, where we can basically remove the clamp here and just slide the bumper on out. We're going to repeat the same process on the other side, and our Z06 brake cooling project will be complete. Please remember to like and subscribe, and follow us for more updates on the MX-5 Endurance Racer.